In this tutorial, we're going to be showing you how it is you swap class codes or subjects between teachers. So for example, if you've got a class code or a subject that's shared by two teachers and you want to make sure it's against the right one, and maybe you want to set up classes so they're against a couple of different teachers, this tutorial will show you how. Now the first thing I've done is I've created a parents' evening, and if I go to the dashboard and find my parents' evening and use its options button to go to edit the teachers, the Edit the Teachers page will show me all the teachers that are in my parents' evening. One thing I can do is click this Download Classes button. And as you can see, this will download a spreadsheet. And as you can see, this spreadsheet is going to show me all my teachers, similar to that web page, but now I can see all the class codes. And this spreadsheet is really helpful because on some occasions you might want to share this with teachers or heads of department to just check whether or not the class codes are correctly assigned. One thing that might happen is you get some feedback from teachers to say, well, actually, it won't be Mr. Boyer that's in charge of this French class code, it's someone else. So once you have a note of the changes you need to make, there are two types of changes, in fact, that you might need to make. One is taking a class code away from someone. Another is adding a class code to someone. I'm going to show you how we do that now. So back in Parents Booking, we're going to go to the Teachers page. And as you can see, I have all my teachers here. I'm going to find Mr. Boyer. And as you can see, Mr. Boyer here has got some students for a class code. Now, in real life, you'll have more than just 2 students. It might be 30 or something like that. Let's have a look at this page. I can add a new subject to Mr. Boyer, no problem. So if he was to teach German, for example, I can add a German subject. And when I add more subjects, you can see you can add students easily. Let's say that in this situation, Mr. Boyer needs to be given a new class code. I'm going to click on the Add Students button, and at the top of the page, there's a student selector. I can add students by their reg class, or normally at this point, you would use the class codes filter. When I click on class codes, all of the class codes that have been imported from your database are shown. And if I find a German class code, for example, 12GE2, I want to add to Mr. Boyer, I can click on it, and I have 2 choices. I can either add the whole class, or I can select certain students and add them alone. Now in this example, I'm going to add the whole class. And as you can see, the page refreshes and Mr. Boyer has been linked to all these students for German. If I click on his French subject now, let's imagine that we don't want this teacher to be in charge of this class code. Rather than using Add Students, I would just press Delete a Class. Again, pressing Delete a Class, I can click on the Class Codes filter, and I can find the class code either by looking for it or typing it in and pressing Search. And when you find it, you can use this button to remove the class from this teacher. When I do that, Mr. Boyer no longer has that class. I can save Mr. Boyer or just go back to the teachers page, and I can now go to a different teacher and add that class code onto them. I'm going to go to Mr. Mackenzie. I'm going to add a French subject so that Mr. Mackenzie can be given that class code. Again, I'm going to use Add Students to search for the class code. There it is, 12FR1, and add it to Mr. Mackenzie. Now, the whole purpose here is that you get the right students and therefore the right class codes against the right teachers. And by doing that, this teacher will be shown to the right parents. The second part of this tutorial, once you've moved all the class codes around and made sure the right students are against the right teachers, is to go to the dashboard page, and we're going to go back into the options and the Edit the Teacher page. Once you've loaded Edit Teachers, you can see all the teachers that are presently in our parents' evening, and there are 2 jobs to do. The first thing is to use this Update button. When you click Update, any new subjects or teachers that are not presently in your parents' evening that are eligible to be added can be added. And you have to just select them. So you can click on them or you can use Select All. Now what this will do is it will add those teachers to this parents' evening. And when I press Add or Update, it will do just that. But there's another reason to do this. It may be there was no new teachers to add, but all the class changes that I'd made, all the sort of class code moving around, still needs to be accounted for. So again, we're going to press Add or Update, and that is going to tell the parents' evening that I want those changes to apply. So as you can see, the page is just refreshing here. It's telling the parents' evening about all those changes I made. Now, once you have added or updated, the list of teachers that are in the Parents' Evening is shown. And the last thing to do before you invite parents to make bookings is go down this list and just make sure there's no more subjects or teachers you don't want in the Parents' Evening. So one thing I'm going to remove is Mr. Boyer for French. You might remember I took the class code off him, so he now is no longer needed in my Parents' Evening. So I'm going to use delete selected to remove Mr. Boyer. When the page refreshes, I'm now happy that is correct, and this page is saved. It saves as it goes along. So I can go back to my dashboard knowing full well that my Parents' Evening is set up. It's got the right class codes assigned to it, and now any parents logging in will be able to make bookings with the right teachers. Hope that helps.